Welcome to Idaho Home Garden Tips. We're glad to have you here tonight. And if you recall, last year over here in eastern Idaho, at least, we had a lot of problems with leafhoppers. And so we thought, given the calm winter, warm winter that we had, we wondered if maybe we might have more problems with leafhoppers this year. So we've invited our friend and colleague, entomologist from Canyon County Extension. He's an educator over there, Brad Stokes, to come and talk to us about leafhoppers tonight. So Brad, you should be able to share, and we're looking forward to it.
Awesome. Thank you, Ron. And thank you all for attending. And thank you and Lena for the invite. This should be fun. I put together some great slides. And as always, we as extension educators learn something when we put together talks. So today we're going to talk about leafhoppers and similar insects in Idaho. My name is Brad Stokes. I'm a U of I extension educator in Canyon County, and my email is there at the bottom, bstokes@uidaho.edu. And Ron is right. It was a very, very warm winter. We almost had no snow here, and we're seeing a lot more leaf hoppers and insects of the like this year, especially aphids this year. So let's jump right into it. Here is our outline tonight. We're going to talk about taxonomy and Hemiptera as a whole. If you don't know, leaf hoppers are within the order Hemiptera. So we'll also talk about leaf hoppers. Cicadelidae, this is the actual family for leafhoppers as a whole. Okay, and I also wanted to include a couple other groups of insects. I wanted to talk quickly about cercopids, or what we might call spittlebugs or frog hoppers. I've also included membracids. These are tree hoppers, and we do have a few species here in Idaho. They'll feed on trees and on shrubs. You probably won't see them, but they are really cool insects. And we'll talk about psyllids a little bit, or plant lice, okay? I'll cover the leafhopper life cycle tonight. We'll talk about damage and diseases, especially a lot of these insects in these orders and within Hemiptera are big as vectors, whether it's pathogens, viruses, bacteriums, they can cause a lot of damage to agronomic and horticultural crops. And then we'll talk quickly about control options, including IPM, of course, integrated pest management. And if I have time, I'll leave a couple minutes for questions before plant talk starts, okay? So this is how Hemiptera evolved, actually. They're actually really, really closely related to thrips and bark lice, which I thought was really interesting. And looking in this, we're going to use the term Echinorhyncha a little bit tonight. I'll go over that, and then Sternorhyncha. So this is kind of where Hemiptera evolved. And within Echinorhyncha, they're really, really primitive in this evolution, okay? So within the order Hemiptera, Echinorhyncha, this term basically means throat-beaked, okay? They are hemimetabolous insects, so they go through those three life stages, egg, nymph, then adult. The beak itself is the feeding mechanism, and I've kind of highlighted that on the right, where it's actually very highly evolved mandibles and maxillae, and they kind of form this tongue and groove, and they form not only a food canal where that xylem and phloem is going up into the gut system, but they have a salivary canal there at the bottom too. So this is where those insects, when they're feeding, they're actually releasing some saliva on top of the plant tissue and within the cells as they're going to that xylem and phloem. They are phytophagous, they are plant feeders. The tarsi are three segmented, and that's their feet, the last segment. Really, really uniquely, they have a filter chamber gut system, and I'll show you that on the next slide. I would say that xylem and phloem is like flat 7 up, and ironically, xylem and phloem does not have all the nutrients and the amino acids that these insects need for sustained life. So they rely on some specialized structures and bacteria, okay? The adults can fly. They have fully developed wings, and they can be great flyers. Ironically, too, the ovipositor is saw-like. So in the leaf hoppers, they're actually laying their eggs within the plant tissue itself, whether that's the stem or the leaf. It's going to be all species dependent. and then they have saltatorial hind legs. So, as nymphs and adults, they can jump quite a ways, and the adults, they have wings. They're going to be held tent-like over the abdomen. Okay? So this is kind of what a leafhopper looks like, generally speaking, all right? A little green insect. Those wings are tent-like over there. There's the hind leg that's saltatorial or jumping. And then you see this row of spines here. We'll go over that as well. They have really, really tiny cetaceous or hair-like antennae right here. Okay, so these are going to be small creatures. Wanted to differentiate that between sternorhyncha. These are going to be the aphids, the whiteflies, the psyllids, and the scale insects. These are also hemimetabolists. I put egg right here at the top because a lot of the aphids, they actually give live birth. Sternorhyncha basically means chest beak, so their feeding mechanism basically arises from their chest. Their tarsi are two segmented, okay? And we have a lot of species in Hemiptera that are pests. Within Sternorhyncha, we have at least 1,500 different species of just aphids, and these are going to be pests and vectors again of numerous plants, all right, and especially viruses within this grouping. So Echinoryca is going to be the throat-beaked, and then Sterno is going to be the chest-beaked insects. Okay. So this is the filter chamber or the gut system of most of these insects. Before the esophagus would be the mouth parts. So the xylem and the phloem is going to come up here through the esophagus into the midgut, and then it will enter the posterior midgut, and then it kind of filters around in there really and concentrates. Once it goes through the midgut, it gets into the hindgut, okay? And then the hindgut is going to have this section called a mycetome. This has mycoplasma or a bacterial species, sometimes a bacteria-like species. And this is really advantageous. These species provide those essential amino acids, B vitamins, and sterols for these insects. So without this mycetome, they basically would die. They would not get enough nutrition, which is really interesting. Ironically, too, they have this Malpighian tubule. This thing gets rid of excess nitrates in the system. It's kind of like our kidneys, but this is for the insects, all right? So this filter chamber kind of sloshes things around. It might wind into its system a little bit, and this is kind of how they feed and how that xylem and phloem is concentrated, and it gets passed to that mycetome. That's really, really critical for those amino acids, sterols, and B vitamins. Okay? So moving on, the true leafhoppers. Well, what we're here for, these are called cicadelids. Okay, they are a very large family of hemimetabolous insects. So here in the United States and Canada, we're talking 2,700 different unique species. They're going to be small, elongated, and slender. The other interesting thing is they only have two ocelli. Usually don't see that. A lot of insects will have three as a triangle, but they only have two on the head. The hind tibia, they have one plus row of regularly spaced slender spines. And you can really see that in this bottom right photograph here, where you get these regularly spaced spines here. And that will help you identify it as a leafhopper. They are pests of numerous horticultural and agricultural crops, and of course, important vectors of diseases as well. Um, as I was putting this talk together, I actually asked AI, I said, hey, would you make me a great body plan of a leafhopper? So this next slide is from AI. It is pretty awesome, though. So let's take a look at it, right? So this is a leafhopper general body plan. We have the head, we have some ocelli there, the antennae, the compound eye, the pronotum, the wings there, and then really that hind leg is going to be so identifiable to identifying it as a leaf hopper, if you will. Okay. The size there, 2 to 12 millimeters. They're jumping, so they do have those powerful saltatorial hind legs. They are piercing, sucking mouth parts, okay, for feeding on that plant xylem and phloem. And you find these leaf hoppers everywhere, right? everywhere you can. They kind of resemble miniature cicadas, but they're going to be a little bit more slender. The next slide, too, I used AI as well. I wanted to look at the internals of a leafhopper, which I think is always fun. Bottom left, we have the nervous system. They typically have three ganglion or three brains, if you will, near the head, and then a nerve cord that goes down the venter. They, of course, have a lot of musculature within that body plan, especially on the hind legs and in the thorax for flying. Okay. That digestive system and virus pathogen transmission is going to be important. I'll show you what that looks like on that next slide as well. And that's going to be really critical for any of the leaf hoppers, okay? Especially if you're talking specific crops. Okay, as vectors, it really will depend upon the virus or the pathogen species. Okay, you could kind of divide this into two types of pathogens or viruses. The semi-persistent viruses, those are going to be the ones that it just mechanically is on their mouth parts, right? Whether it's on the stylet, the labrum, it's on there. So they transmit it and they might not infect another plant. And then there is going to be persistent transmission. Now, with persistent transmission of viruses or other bacterium, they're basically going to go up through the food canal into the foregut. And then within the hindgut, they typically have receptors that allow those virus particles or those bacteriums to get into the hemosyl or the blood of the insect. And as this blood is sloshing around, it actually will bind to the salivary glands. So the next time that insect feeds and it drops some saliva as it's inserting it into that leaf tissue, it will infect that plant. And with these persistent transmission viruses, there is going to be a little bit of a lag period between when that insect gets that virus and when it can transmit it to a plant. So they are very, very important as vectors, and we need to watch them. Okay. Some important leafhopper viruses. Okay. Of course, we have B. curly top virus, BCTV. This causes curly top of tomato. I'm sure a lot of us have dealt with curly top of tomato. Okay. We have Aster yellows. This is a bacteria in a phytoplasma. Can get into sunflower, carrot, and the like. Okay, we have zebra chip disease. This is a bacterium as well. I put on here though, this is a psylla transmitted virus, so we don't need to worry about that. We have corn stunt disease. That's a bacterium as well. We have wheat dwarf virus. Okay, maize rhyotophino rice tongue roll virus. Okay. And I would note that the virus or pathogen names don't indicate the entire host range of that virus. So a good example is that B. curly top virus. It infects 300 plus plant species from 44 different families. But to us as gardeners, you might see it infecting your tomatoes, unfortunately. The next little bugs I want to talk about are cercopids. These are spittle bugs and frog hoppers. This is a small family of hemimetabolous insects. They're slightly wider or more robust than leafhoppers. They do have those two ocelli. And how you can differentiate these from a true leafhopper is their hind tibia has one or two stout spines, and then usually this apical circlet of spines. So you can kind of look at their hind leg to tell. The other interesting part about these nymphs and most of these live in a mass of spittle for defense. It's produced by those Malpighian tubules I was talking about earlier, but it's excreted via the anus. And yes, that is quite gross. I have a couple photos on the next slide. So this is going to be cercopid or spittlebug nymphs. And this is kind of what that little creature looks like. It's small, green, usually red eyes. And you might see these white foamy masses on your plants. That would identify it as a spittlebug or a frog hopper and not a leaf hopper. Just as I was putting this presentation today, I saw this post and I thought it was just hilarious, so I had to share it. It was on the All Things Idaho Facebook post, and this individual said, Whoever keeps trespassing on my private property just to walk around and spit on my weeds, we are installing game cams. And if that doesn't work, I'll be taking your spit to the DNA testing site. So I thought that was funny. Someone did inform them that these are cercopids or spittlebugs that are feeding on their plants. Okay. Another group, membracids. These are tree hoppers. These are really, really cool insects. About 270 species in the US and Canada. They are quite robust and stout. The really interesting part about these creatures is they have a very uniquely modified pronotum. Okay. It's very large and it extends back over the abdomen, typically protecting the wings. And then some of the ones in the tropics can have really cool, highly modified ones with spines. Here in Idaho, we kind of get the boring brown ones, but they are out and about. You'll see these feeding on trees and shrubs. Not really in abundance, though. Okay. Another one, the psyllids or the plant lice. To me, these really resemble miniature cicadas. Okay, nymphs are very flat, ovoid, and sluggish. Sometimes they can have some wax secretions. Very important in Idaho, we have the potato psyllid, and it can transmit this bacterium, which causes zebra chip disease in potato. Okay. Psyllids also can transmit pear decline. So that's another virus that can be transmitted as well. All right. Noting zebra chip disease, UVI Extension actually has a robust program. Dr. Eric Wenninger in Southern Idaho, just over in Twin Falls, is doing some great work with it. Zebra chip disease basically causes this discoloration within the potato tuber. Okay, so it's really unmarketable if it gets this disease or bacterium. And Dr. Wenninger does some great stuff. He does this Idaho pest monitoring website, and he tracks these week by week and over years. So in this one, you can see that 2020 was actually a big year, as well as 2021 for psyllids in southern Idaho. Okay. The leaf hopper cycle. We're going to start here on the egg stage. So it takes about 6 to 14 days to hatch, and then they're going to be wingless nymphs. Again, they can still jump, right? They go through 4 or 5 molts, and as they're molting, those wing pads are extending into fully developed wings. And then at the end of the season, they're going to mate. And then again, that female is going to use her saw-like ovipositor to deposit her eggs into plant tissue. So that's kind of the general life cycle of leafhoppers. Okay. Some control options for leafhoppers. I will be honest with you. Control can be quite tough. These insects are quite mobile. They have those saltatorial legs and then fully developed wings as adults. Number one, we need to know which species or virus might be pestiferous in and around your home or garden. I would note that early control is going to be especially important for curly top of tomato, right? And most of us have probably had curly top before in your garden, okay? So how do you treat curly top? Unfortunately, right, viruses can't be cured. So you basically have to take that plant, remove it from your garden, and toss it away. Infection of these viruses and pathogens can be sporadic from year to year. It's going to depend upon the vector population, the psyllids or the leafhoppers, and the virus presence in the area. And again, yeah, the best method of control is to throw away that plant so you're not keeping that virus load in that area. Looking for leaves on the top of the tomato plant that are curling upwards is diagnostic for curly top. And you can read this great thing from Utah State about curly top of tomato. So I just wanted to show you this is kind of the transmission of beet curly top virus in tomatoes, right? First, the vector or the leafhopper is going to get that. It's going to acquire the virus. It's going to actually move through the entire insect and then get to those salivary glands. Then that vector is inoculated and it can start transmitting it. And then within that plant, you'll get systemic infection and then establishment, okay? The symptoms in tomato, the upward leaf curling, leaf thickening or crinkling, stunting, sometimes purple discoloration on stems, and then it can affect the fruit of those. All right. Pesticides and some control options. Number one, we always need to think about our integrated pest management triangle, if you will. And for this, I'd actually put one more layer at the very, very bottom, and I would call it identification. Okay, let's make sure we have a pest species. Maybe we have a beneficial there. Then we go to prevention, right? What kind of crop rotation are we doing? Can we get some different species or varieties in there? Let's do some detection or some decision support, monitoring, forecasting, warning systems. Then we can go to our mechanical, physical, and natural control options. And then biocontrol, I can't say enough about biological control. There are so many predators out there, so keep in mind your biological control, and then finally chemical control. Okay? So that's really key. This is kind of the new thought process for IPM. It encompasses a lot more. It gets economic viability, environmental safety, social acceptability is in there as well. Encompassing all of this into our pest management is critical for integrated pest management. All right. Using IPM, always take advantage of natural enemies, avoiding those broad spectrum insecticides, which kill those beneficials. Think about biorationals and timing of applications if you're going to use some control. And for me, attracting beneficials to your location, really, really key. There are so many parasitoid wasps, predatory insects. A lot of these are free living, so they need a nectar source. So think about what you're going to plant in your garden or space. Okay. I like this one as well. Always look for beneficials. From ladybugs to minute pirate bugs, big-eyed bugs to canids, hoverflies, wasps. I love wasps. I keep them around on my property. Assassin bugs, soldier beetles, lacewings, and parasitic wasps. I also found this image on the internet that I thought was very fitting. This is an acyllid or a robber fly, and this is actually captured and feeding on a leafhopper there. Keep in mind our beneficials, our predators here, they're always working for free, right? They don't cost us a dime, so we want to keep them around for that balanced ecosystem. I would note some caution here. Numerous products are on the market available for control of leafhoppers. Okay, there's contact insecticides as well as systemic insecticides. I would caution you really strongly on the systemics. These systemic insecticides move within the plant's xylem and phloem tissue. So, me personally, I would never use a systemic on a plant that I might end up consuming. For a tomato is a good example. Okay, always read and follow all pesticide labels. Okay, always read that. Okay, and why should we use IPM? It's from this great lady, Rachel Carson, wrote Silent Spring in 1962. It's really, really important to use these tools judiciously, only as a last resort for dealing with things, all right? And dealing with true pest species, I might add. I would also note me and a couple colleagues. This is Jason Thomas of Minidoka County, and this is Dr. Armando Falcon Brindis. He's over here in Parma. We run Idaho Insect Identification. It's a statewide resource. So master gardeners, educators, anyone in the public, you can take your smartphone, take some photos, take some videos, upload it to this website, and we will get back to you typically probably within 24 or 48 hours. It's really fun on the back end as well because when I get emails about this, I'm so excited to go, oh, what did I get? So we love running this and we ID stuff and we will provide some control options if necessary, okay? Some lasting words of advice. Be cautious about cure-all products, fertilizers, methods, insecticides, pesticides. Everybody's situation will differ for the most part. Okay. So just be cautious of the snake oil stuff. And silver bullets don't really exist, though I have two quick little things to show you. Number one, The Silver Bullet movie by Stephen King. What a fantastic movie. And then lastly, this exists as well in the market. All right. So with that, I would say thank you. I have a couple minutes for questions, and you can always email me. Again, I'm Brad Stokes from Canyon County. I run the Master Gardener program over here, and I will stop sharing. So if you have any questions, I would love to answer them.
Okay, questions for Brad. We've got the entomologist on the line. You don't have to worry about what is Ron and Reed going to say this time.
I loved your music, by the way, Ron. That was fantastic as we started.
Kind of dates me, doesn't it?
It,
So, in our home gardens, since nobody else is asking questions, what are the most common plants that are infested by leafhoppers?
within the garden, it's going to be okay. The solanaceous crops, okay, not the cruciferous though. Probably corn as well. Peppers sometimes, at least in southwestern Idaho. It just depends on the year. Um, for me, I always think of tomatoes though. Tomatoes seem to get some of those leaf hoppers.
Yeah, that beet leafhopper. We see a
Oh yeah.
lot of, well, we don't have a lot of grapes here, but the
Yes.
grapes and the Parthenocissus quinquefolia, Virginia creeper, those seem to get a lot of leafhoppers, and those two leafhoppers actually look a lot alike.
Yeah.
Grape and the Virginia creeper leafhoppers, and they're uh, this last year, Lena, we had a lot of leafhoppers affecting. I had them in my raspberries pretty bad this last year.
I had so
Wow.
many in my
Okay.
raspberries and they're already back this year. Yeah.
Wow. And I think that's due to that mild, really warm winter. I had
Yeah.
people coming to me with aphids really early this year,
Yeah.
and I'm going, this is not the time for aphids at all,
Yeah.
Lena, you know?
Yeah.
The
So it's been
interesting,
weird what's blooming already and what's out feeding already.
yeah.
Yeah, the pests kind of have, they're ahead of the curve, if you will.
Yeah. Well, but it seemed
Okay.
like the bumblebees were out or the honeybees were out before there was much for them to eat this year too. They were like
Right.
fighting over my tulips.
I see Jennifer says, are any ornamental plants affected by leafhoppers? Absolutely, Jennifer, especially with the abundance of species we have here in the inland Northwest. Really, we have a lot. And then Shanda, hi Shanda. What about any fruit trees? I would say pears, okay, and probably the nectarines and peaches as well. It's always going to depend on the year.
I had probably about 3 years ago, a guy called me and said, I got something going on with my trees, my apple trees. I went and looked at his apple trees, and he had like leafhopper bad on the apple trees. And
Wow.
it's got that typical. So the typical look of leafhoppers, it's a little bit different from like you get from spider mites and things like that. So you want to kind of talk about how would they recognize leafhopper damage as opposed to some of these others?
I would say it kind of has that stippling appearance, but it's just not the same. Gonna be more sporadic, I would say, Ron.
Okay, and what I've noticed is it with spider mites you get almost kind of a necrotic tissue,
Yeah.
whereas with the leafhopper you get a drained cell.
Yeah.
The cell is still there, but it's pale.
Yeah.
It's not with the spider mites it's dead tissue. With the leafhopper, it still looks like it's kind of alive, but it's just a lot lighter dots, and it seems to be most prevalent along the veins in the leaves. They're
Yeah, and I
thinning on
think
the bottom, and it's along the veins. But that's kind of what I look for when I look for leafhopper damage.
and that makes sense because that's where the most xylem and phloem are flowing through that leaf. So I think you're spot on there, Ron.
Well, you can ask questions, other gardening questions too. You do have Ron and Reed, and of course Brad is excellent too as far as answering other gardening questions. But
Very.
he is an entomologist, so take advantage of the entomology person. But Jared and Reed and I are here for the plant talk section of our presentation here tonight. And Brad, you're welcome to stay and help us if you've got feedback on these questions as well.
Cool.
I am curious, is there anybody who has any fruit on their apples or cherries or plums or peaches. I was just noticed Lena sent me a link to a Channel 5 KSL Channel
Oh yeah.
5 day. Yeah, they did a thing on no local peaches in northern Idaho. Pettingill's big,
Utah, northern Utah.
Northern Utah.
yeah, yeah,
Yeah,
northern
that
Utah,
the whole fruit belt there in
one of
Utah,
those
there's
states
there's
anyway.
nothing.
So anyway, yeah, they got froze just like we did. You know, the first time it froze, there's some blossoms that opened up a little bit later, and then they got froze, and then the very tail end blossoms, maybe a few fruit sitting, and then they got froze. I mean, we're talking 20 to 22 degrees up here,
Yeah.
and it probably
Yeah.
wasn't quite as cold over there in Canyon County, but yeah, we don't have any fruit, which we mentioned this, I guess, last time when we had Mary and Murray here. It may be a blessing in disguise in that we're going to starve a lot of codling moths this year. They're not going to have anything to feed on. So,
I agree with
Yeah.
you. This is Reed. It wasn't just that we had a frost; it was that there was so many frosts over the course of that whole month that every time they would re-blossom, it would just kill those.
Well, and
yeah,
it got
is it?
warm in
Well,
between everyone too.
We had a lot
Yeah.
of
yeah.
trees that got defoliated, and some of them came back. Some of them are having a difficult time coming back.
And speaking of which, we're expected to have another frost Wednesday night.
Yes,
Yep.
tomorrow night.
So, yeah, at least I was kind of looking around. It looks like Pocatello will not get that cold, but Idaho Falls and north, we're all getting
Well, where I am close to
more.
Blackfoot, it's supposed to be like 31, so
Yeah.
we'll see if it happens or not.
And that's not too bad of a frost. A couple of degrees if you've already got any fruit set. But if you've got any tender plants out there, your
Yep.
Yeah.
tomatoes and your
Tomatoes,
peppers and your zinnias and any of those very
impatiens,
tender
sweet potato
plants,
vine.
yep, yep.
Yeah.
Get them protected. Be prepared to protect them because there's not so what I do on mine is I call it triple protection, but I've got my tomatoes and peppers planted inside the high tunnel, and inside the high tunnel I have a low tunnel, and inside the low tunnel I have water jugs. And so the water jugs absorb the heat during the day and they give off heat at night. And I've got the low tunnel under there kind of keep that heat around those plants. And then the high tunnel. So I can get down to the low 20s and still have those plants survive. They're not going to grow very well, but they'll survive with that triple protection system that I use. But not everybody has a high tunnel and not everybody wants to grow with a high tunnel, but even just a low tunnel and some water jugs would do a lot of good if you've got a good cover for them.
I think we did have a few other questions. There was a
Oh, the Carmine Jewel cherry. Somebody,
Yeah, you're lucky.
yeah,
I was
yeah.
at a neighbor's house tonight and he has pears, but very few, but they have a whole orchard and lost everything else. So just the one pear tree.
So did all your trees lose all their fruit, Jared?
um I need to check to see if any I did have a very few blooms survive, like literally a handful out of 130 trees. But I don't know if I need to go through and look carefully for any fruit that actually set. So,
Yeah.
So I also had raspberries that were blooming during one of those frosts, and I now have kind of what looks like the top of the raspberry and nothing developing, like no fruit developing, and like one kind of little spike in the middle. But there's like a few raspberries developing around them, and I'm wondering if that was from frost damage as well.
it could be. I mean, sometimes when the flower gets physically damaged, it can deform the fruit.
If you've got the fall bearing raspberries, it wouldn't affect it would affect your yeah, I've had raspberries freeze back two or three times in the springtime, but they still produce fine in the fall. So if you got your fall bearing raspberries should be fine.
Yeah. So
I'm
they're
not sure
fall
about
bearing, but we always leave like the few canes so that we can have, a couple
oh
bowls of
yeah.
raspberries in June. And that's what had blooms that froze. So, yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. I'm not sure what's going to happen with the blackberries this year.
Oh, mine are in full bloom right now.
Are they? I haven't even checked mine yet. So
I can run out and take pictures of my weirdo raspberries and the blackberries if you want.
yeah,
Somebody
yeah. Like
did
Jared
ask
said,
about sweet potatoes. When I said sweet potatoes, I meant the ornamental
right.
ones that you see in planters. Um, I know some people want to try growing sweet potato for food production, but I
It's a
don't think we
challenge.
have the
Good luck.
without a greenhouse or a high tunnel. Yeah.
Yeah, there's just not enough heat units. Sweet potatoes and okra kind of fall on the same
Okra
category.
does just fine.
Well,
Protected this week though.
if you find a good warm space for them protected, then yeah, you could probably get some. You're not going to get the really big sweet potatoes. You could probably get some smaller sweet potatoes out of them. Yeah, I've had clover bugs come in, clover clover mites.
Right.
I've had clover mites come into the office a couple times so far this year, and
Yeah.
it's early. Usually they're kind of transitory, although I will have people come in later in the summer and bring in clover mites. And what are these things? So
Yeah, I had a couple of those too, actually, or like a month ago, the clover mites.
yeah,
Well, the weeds are kind of really ahead of schedule too. Like I was out at a neighbor's house a couple days ago and they had a hairy nightshade that was fruiting already.
well,
Like what on earth?
yeah. I haven't seen a lot of hairy nightshade in my garden anymore, but I still have cut leaf nightshade showing up once in a while.
Yeah, they also had hound's tongue that was blooming, but there was some seed pods already developing on that too. I know it's just like, wait, it's
Hmm.
not July.
Yeah, it'll be interesting to see how things look up at 4-H camp. You know,
Yeah.
it'll some years we're way behind and some years we're way ahead. We'll see what it looks like up there this next week. So I wouldn't expect well, actually I have seen winged box elder bugs come out of hibernation, Evelyn, but yeah.
Well, and tiny box elderbug makes me think of elm seed be bugs, but they would have wings.
Elm seed bugs. I have had actually elm seed bugs come in too. Some of them come out.
I was gonna say, Lena, I don't think I could identify that pupa much further. Some kind of a beetle, kind of cool though. Cool
Yeah,
photo.
well, it was like so stark white with those like little red eyes. It was just so different from what we usually find.
It looks so interesting. It's really hard to
Yeah.
tell from the photos. I wish I had it like here, you know what I mean?
Yeah, sorry. Did send two teenagers to go take pictures of it. Next time I'll bring it inside and get good pictures. I should send you to Brad. We got a video the other day of probably just born that our praying mantis. It was probably like 4 millimeters long. And my daughter was wearing her leather cuff. She had just been practicing archery and it's just running around on her little leather cuff.
Cool.
It was
How
so cool.
cool. I love when the kids get involved, you know that?
Yeah.
I have already had people ask me about powdery mildew this year, and other fungal issues. And I don't know if it's because it was such a dry spring, but we keep having these really cold dips with rain.
Yeah.
So is that something we're gonna have an issue with?
Well, yeah, powdery mildew prefers humidity over moisture. So,
Humidity over moisture?
yeah, yeah, humidity is over surface moisture. They don't like
Okay,
powdery
okay.
mildew doesn't like surface moisture. They like humid air. Powdery mildews do. I've had quite a lot of powdery mildew on some of my dandelions, and I've seen it in some grass in a spot in my lawn. One place where I've had it in the past. Uh, I've seen it on the German madwort.
Oh
Uh,
yeah.
so
Actually, I had a patch that had powdery mildew on it too of that, but it's gone now.
yeah, but it's important with powdery mildew. It's important to realize that powdery mildew is there's a lot of different strains of powdery mildew, and they don't all affect the same plants. And so if you get powdery mildew on your bindweed, which there is a powdery mildew that will affect bindweed, it's not the same powdery mildew that's on your cucumbers.
So are they really host specific, or is it more like they'll infect half of a plant family or something?
They'll probably closer to family type.
Okay.
Yeah, not specific genus or whatnot, but
So how do we get the stuff that invades everybody's garden around the end of August, early September in the squash and get that to attack the bryony?
that would be nice, huh? Apparently, it's not the same. That's not the same powdery mildew that will attack the white bryony as opposed to your squash plants. Because
Isn't the bryony a cucurbit?
no, no,
Oh, okay.
it's. I wonder what family is the white bryony in, Brad?
I've never looked at that.
No, I don't know.
Yeah.
Find out.
See who finds the answer first, right?
It's cucurbit, mine says.
Yes, no. Yeah, it is.
It does say cucurbit.
Yeah.
All right.
Interesting.
So apparently the white bryony is just more immune to it.
Might need to narrow it down a little further.
Yeah. Well, and there aren't very many tuber producing members of that
Then the
family.
cucurb-
So.
yeah. I'm trying to think of any other things that have
I've
come up
had just
recently.
really odd specific questions this week, so not really helpful to the general.
You guys seeing a lot of herbicide injury yet? We had
No,
a
it's too
little bout
cold.
a couple weeks ago. Yeah.
Yeah, I
You
haven't
heard
seen
us
any
say
of
the
that
low is
come
like
yet.
30, right?
Yeah.
I haven't seen a whole lot yet.
I'm sure it's coming.
That week where it shot to, I think it was 96 here. I
Oh
saw
yeah,
some of those herbicide injury
Yeah.
I'll
all
bet.
over.
I'll bet. So that's a good reminder, Brad. If it's going to be over 80 degrees for 72 hours after you spray,
Yeah.
do not spray dicamba or 2,4-D.
Exactly.
Does the same time frame apply to high winds as well for those?
No, that's a heat
Okay,
thing.
that's just for the
That's a heat
contact
thing.
portion. Okay.
Yeah. So, and then the high winds, of course, that's the other thing. Don't spray during high winds. Well, when we'll be able to spray here, right?
Yeah, the wind hasn't turned off for like a week straight here.
Now we actually have some calm in the morning. It's a little bit calm, but
No, I was cutting flowers at 5:30 Sunday morning and I couldn't see through my hair. It was so windy.
no.
It
Well,
was very
when I
odd.
when I go outside in the morning, I don't go out until it's calm. So
Well, I gotta get those flowers before the sun touches them. So,
yeah, Idaho state law is if the label doesn't tell you a maximum wind speed, then it's 10 miles per hour.
okay.
So,
Honestly,
if
I
it,
think just about every label I've read usually has a wind speed. So,
yeah, and some of them will say 12 or 15 miles per hour, but if the label doesn't say it's 10 miles per hour in Idaho.
yeah.
And then the other thing is you don't want to spray when there's absolutely no wind because then you have an inversion problem. And that's, if it's going to be below 3 miles an hour, so you're looking between maybe 2, 3 miles an hour up to 8 or 9 miles an hour. That's your window in the wind speed, which
I
makes
don't
it
think
tough.
lack of wind is an issue, Ron.
Sometimes it is. Sometimes,
Occasionally. Although I've usually seen that when we're pretty cold, or maybe it's just more noticeable. You can see the inversion layers when it's
Yeah.
early spring or in the fall, especially
when
if
it gets
somebody's
hot,
got a
it'll
wood
do that.
fireplace or burning a ditch bank close by.
Yep.
Yeah.
You can
Yeah,
see,
so that's
see the
another
smoke
thing.
just sit there.
Oh, sorry. We already had a ditch burning get out of control in Firth last week because it's already dry.
Yep, very dry.
Ugh. And
Yeah,
boy, is the brome prolific this year, or am I just noticing it more than usual? I don't know. It seems like it is just
it, it did really well
everywhere on
this
the side of the
spring.
roads.
The cheatgrass or
Yeah.
yeah, yeah, it did very well. I still got a bunch. I like to cut off the seed heads before they go get totally and throw that away, and then I can compost the bottom half of the plant. So
Yeah.
I haven't got all my cheatgrass cut yet.
I could tell Brad my horror story from last time.
Go
Okay,
for it. Go for it.
You're not gonna like it, Brad. A couple weeks ago, I woke up at 7:30 in the morning. It was a long
oh,
night, so I slept in to water hitting my window. And I thought, what the heck? Did the neighbors get like a huge impact head or something? I look out my window and there's a guy in a full suit spraying stuff at my house. So I run out on my deck in my PJs. I'm like, what are you doing? And he's like, well, I'm spraying. And I was like, okay, like, why are you spraying? Anyway, he had the wrong house and sprayed my house for with pesticides.
Oh. And I should tell
And
you. Oh, go
I
ahead.
have worked so hard to build up like my soil ecology around the house and stuff here because we just have like chalky sand. I was like, no. Anyway, the poor kid was horrified, and I live in 752, and they were supposed to go to 752 and a half, but didn't put the half on his sheet. So,
I have to beat away the pest control people from my house because they are knocking at the door literally every week, and it's so frustrating.
oh man, they must have a black mark on my house. They don't come here anymore, but I've told a few, I don't believe in what you're doing. You can go somewhere else.
They all say it's spider control, and I'm like, yeah, but they're all beneficial. Even
yeah.
some
Why do
black
I need
I
to?
widows are
know the
Why do
fine.
I need to
spiders is
control
what I
spiders?
want to stay alive.
Even the black widows are beneficial.
Exactly.
Is there a spider that looks a ton like a black widow, but it's got a brown abdomen with kind of like a stripe and some little Aztec pattern next to it?
Yes, yes. They're
And is it
called false
related to a
black
black
widows.
widow? Okay.
I think they're in the same family, Lena. Yeah.
Okay. That's my daughter brought me one the other day, and it's always like, what is this? And she expects the exact answer. I'm like, I don't know. Looks like a cousin to a black widow. Uh,
So what do the immature black widows before they get or the male black widows are a little bit different too. They kind of have an interesting. They don't have the hourglass on the abdomen, right?
Yeah, and they can have some weird patterning where it's like white and red on their
Yeah.
abdomen, and it's not
oh
that
yeah,
shiny
I've seen
black.
that.
It's kind of interesting.
They're kind of pretty.
Now we're all looking at spider pictures. Oh, how
Yep.
Well, I'm just,
exciting!
yeah, I was
Cool.
just wondering. I had some pests the other day. I just don't know if I can get a picture. Well, not a pest, an insect, sorry. I don't know if I can get the picture over onto the computer.
I saved a dead hornet in one of my flower beds the other day, but I had put it on my trowel and the wind blew it away because it was so dang windy. But it kind of looked like the bald-faced hornet with the huge eyes, but it was like at least an inch and a half long. It was so big. But I wish I had taken a picture of it. But I thought, oh, I'll take it, I'll save it, take it inside and get some good pictures and then take the body to work to show people or whatever. And nope, it was gone. So I don't think it was like the Asian giant hornet. I don't think it was quite that big, but had
It
that
was
very like
big though, huh?
cartoon face. Yeah, and it was huge. And it was more bold yellow than most of the bald face hornets I see around here. They're usually kind of more like a creamy white.
Gotcha.
But
So
if you have any idea what it was.
one call I had went out on this just a little while ago, a couple days ago, was a guy had planted a whole bunch of green ash tree hybrids, and he had a whole bunch of holes in them, and it's the lilac ash borer is what it looked like to me. I sent you those pictures, Brad, and you kind of identified that, helped me.
Yeah,
And
yeah.
yeah, it's there are reasons to not plant the ash tree, and it's not only because of the eventual arrival of the emerald ash borer. There are other problems that I've seen with ash. I like as a shade tree, if it's pruned properly, it's actually quite a nice tree, but it does have that lilac ash borer, which is a deep wood borer.
Yeah.
Once it gets into the wood, there's nothing you can do about it. And then you get these holes that are about, I don't know, almost a quarter of an inch in diameter, these round holes, and you'll see frass and you'll see these pupal casings. They pupate right there at the end of that hole, and then they crawl out. And so there's pupal casings sticking out of the hole. It's
It looks pretty neat, honestly. It's
yeah,
like
it's
a
kind of
little
cool.
alien.
I was gonna see if maybe I could get some picture loaded up here. Send a picture to myself.
Well, I guess at least it wasn't the emerald ash borer. They weren't big holes, so
Yeah.
Well, yeah, and the emerald ash borer is kind of a D-shaped, upside down D-shaped type hole, but anyway.
they're sure pretty though.
They are. A lot of the pests are.
Yeah, we went to a reptile expo, big one, a couple weeks ago, and my daughter and her friend were like, "Ooh, what is that?" And it was the emerald ash borer that they had, in the resin. Do you know
It's-
on that dahlia question, Jared? Because I always cut my first big stalk out of my dahlias so that they will branch and bloom more, but I'm not sure that it's going to make it bloom faster. I'm backing off on your fertilizer, Will. You're muted, Jared.
Yeah, pinching will delay your
That's
flowering.
what I was thinking.
But it will give you branching. And you have to look at the plant itself too. Some of the plants coming out of the nurseries have already been pinched. So
That's true.
For a flower pot, you might not need to do it. For your cut flowers, that might be but you might be using a different cultivar anyway for your cut flowers versus your planters and stuff.
I have noticed with the smaller, they're usually kind of a more stunning and like variegated flower, but they're smaller. If I pinch those too much, they stay really low growing. So that'd be like for your pot. Because if I do that too much, they don't get the stems that I want for my cut flowers. So
Yeah.
Okay, I put some pictures in of that lilac ash borer. The
Yeah.
one shows
Oh,
the
yeah.
frass of the hole there at the end, one shows the hole, and the other shows the pupal casing that's trying to, after it's come out. And then when you see the hole, that's not the time to control it. It's already gone.
Yeah.
Um,
Uh,
my understanding is that if you have concern about the lilac ash borer, you need to spray. Depends on the season.
Yeah.
About mid-June, you spray the trunk. About mid-June with malathion, not malathion, but the old 7.
Is that imidacloprid?
Arboril?
Carbaryl, yeah, Carbaryl.
Yeah.
And you'll get about, I don't know, 3 to 4 weeks of coverage with that. And that way, if they lay their eggs and they try to chew through that, it'll help keep that down. But I've told this story a few years back. My daughter lives in Idaho Falls. She had this large ash tree in her backyard, massive thing, great shade tree and all that. Nothing would grow underneath it, of course, but it was there, and I could see looking at it that it had some issues and had been pruned improperly a time or two and things. So eventually you're gonna have to take that out. She says, "Yeah, we know. We're just kind of waiting." Well, one spring day, her husband was out in the backyard with their little girl, looking around the yard. This is probably about 4 years ago. Came in the house, and my daughter looks outside, and all of a sudden there's this big branch from that tree that had fallen in the backyard. So fortunately, her husband and daughter were not outside underneath
Yeah.
that branch. Needless to say, within a week the tree was gone.
Yep.
the-
Threaten the
we-
kids and things happen, right?
Yeah, we have had homicide by trees around here in Idaho Falls. trees
Wow.
falling on houses, killing people,
Yeah.
that kind of a thing. It happens. And so, first of all, choose the right kind of tree, and then prune it properly, get it to grow properly. But um, cottonwoods are not. It was a cottonwood that killed this guy. Cottonwoods are not a good
That's not a
landscape.
street tree.
Yeah. They're great in the river bottoms. That's where they belong. That's their habitat. When we bring them into they're too big. They got weak wood. The wind blows. You got branches breaking out, and then people ask me, "What do I do about this tree?" Well, it's going to cost me $5,000 to take out that tree. Yes, it will.
It'll cost you more if it hits your house.
That's right.
Yep. Always tell people ours was a box elder tree, so not quite as bad, but still weak wood, bad tree. And we had a windstorm one night, and the tree didn't come down, but a huge branch fell out of it, went through our roof. A big branch fell off of that one, smashed our car in the driveway. Like, just take care of the big beasts. Problem with that one was it was on the property line, and we couldn't get the neighbor to agree on anything and stuff too. So. Oh.
I put one in there and it was a site visit. This person had weeds like right in that area by the street there, and they applied a bunch of bromosil dry-on ground clear crowbar, and it went with the water right in this person's lawn. It was just a horrendous thing.
Oh.
That ground
What about
clear
those trees and
crowbar.
shrubs?
Oh yeah,
Yeah,
it's
that tree's not
affecting the
gonna survive
apple.
that.
Yeah. Be
Yeah,
cautious with chemicals.
Casseron will do that to your lawn. Yeah.
Okay, so here's the chemical question because this is something that has come up a few times this spring. People are really panicked about their trees this year because weird stuff's happening. And a lot of the people that have asked me their questions, they've already gone to a nursery. The nursery has given them a drench product and they've applied it and then want to know why nothing's happened. And they usually can't really tell me what it is, but there's one that's like a snake oil cures all that like three of them have told me they've used this year. And I'm like, what the heck is in this? And why are they thinking it's going to solve like not leafing out and fungus problems and insect issues? And so I don't know. Like, what do we do about this?
Yeah. I don't know. They're looking for something that will take care of everything.
Yeah.
And a decade worth of neglect on a tree.
Cannot be cured by a cure-all snake oil product.
How do we get the good information out there? Why are they coming to us when the snake oil doesn't work, you know? How do we get to them first?
Tisha, the Siberian elm is another one of those. It's probably the trashiest tree we have around. It does not look good. It grows fast. People, oh well, I got a tree growing there. I'll just go ahead and let it grow, and it grows fast, and it's quite invasive and weedy and trashy, and the wind blows and branches break out. It has very weak wood. Not a good tree at all. If you have a Siberian elm, my first recommendation is cut it out.
Yeah,
My
and elm
second
seed bugs.
recommendation is cut it out. And my third recommendation is cut it out. There's nothing good about that. Well, okay. There's one good thing about that tree. It will grow anywhere.
The goats can eat it and it will come back.
Yeah. So if you've got a Siberian elm, I know they're big, they grow fast, but just like you said, you got a 10-inch branch break down in your yard. All you got to do is have a neighbor behind it, under that, a vehicle under that, or a house under that, or a child under that, and there you go. Yep. Prune it to the soil
Yeah, our
level.
house with the box elder tree that fell on it, on the other side, we had a Siberian elm in the neighbor's yard that ripped down our fence.
So
Also.
I went to school at Rick's College, right? Got my horticulture degree at Rick's College. And the box elder tree and the Siberian elm tree, my professor, the scientific name for the Siberian elm is Omus son of a bitchy. And the scientific name for the box elder is Acer bastardacea, apparently. No, it's actually Acer negundo and Omus pamila. Is it pamila?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Unless they
Yeah,
changed
pamila.
it.
Yeah,
I-
Acer.
I
We've
can't
been
forgive
changing
the
stuff a lot
botanist.
in the last couple of years.
Yeah.
Anyway, so that's where I learned my language was at Rick's College. Everybody. Okay, let's have a plot. Thanks, everybody. 2 weeks we'll have our next garden tips.